Aurora Women's Conference. Are you a woman who is looking to lead effectively, influence, impact positively, manage change, and improve your decision-making processes? If yes, register now at www.strandsofpearls.org or WhatsApp +233-265-051-182 to attend the Aurora Women's Conference on June 8th and 9th, 2023 at the Elisa Hotel, Accra. And this is why. Susan Quist on a descriptive career mapping plan. Identify your abilities and be clear about the value you can add to an organization.
So I'll be talking about mapping your career journey. And you heard the conversation between Ashoka and myself. And we will go through more of a, lecture series around trying to capture some of the things that we talked about during the Q&A. In my mind, there are 4 components. It's the what, the how, the when, and the who. What is it that you want to do? What is the end goal? What is the target goal? How are you going to get there? Who is going to help you get to that goal? And when do you get to that goal? I think if you remember, I asked Ashoka a question around a vision board and whether she had one for her career. The reason that's important is while things change and while life is fluid, having a good understanding of what it is you want to achieve is important. But how do you figure that out? I put it into 3 buckets, which is what do you like? You need to know what the non-negotiables are. What are the things that you have to, that give you life? What are you passionate about? And when you're in the workspace, if you're working on those things, are you energized? Are you motivated? Do you wake up wanting to go to work the next day? Those are the things that feed your energy and why you show up at work and be the best employee you can be. The second question is, what is it that you do not like? And that's also in the non-negotiable bucket. If you know that reading reports is not something that you like, please do not take a job where you have to read reports. You will not do well. You will not do well because you're not excited about it. You're not going to be competent. You will be complacent. And you will not find the work interesting. And eventually you will say, I'm bored and want to do something else. So, I use this phrase, know thyself. And it's important. Self-awareness is key. Know what it is that you like and you don't like. And apply those tools or that thinking when you're considering roles. Don't just take a job or a position because it's a job. There's a difference between a career and a job. Career, in my view, is fulfilling. A job is just a transactional thing that you do to get to a certain point. So think carefully about these 2 buckets, but also in life, we have to be flexible. What is it that you can live with? You may not necessarily be super excited about it, but you can manage it, right? So I think this is an important step in terms of assessing your vision board. And your vision board in terms of your career is the kinds of skills and competencies you want to acquire. I think oftentimes we look at jobs and we focus on the job. We focus on the role because it's positional. It gives you power. That's the wrong mindset in my mind. Look at it at what are the kinds of things that you're enjoying doing and how does this next position get you to do more of that. The next analysis or assessment is really around the how, the destination, and what's the path that's going to get you there. Think about the next few roles that you may be interested in. And in thinking through that, also look at the skills and experiences you're looking to acquire through that job or that role or that position. But also consider what it is that you bring to the table, right? Know thyself. What do you bring to the table? What makes you the right person for that role? And why should the hiring manager consider you for this role? you also need to think about all those things when you decide to apply for a job. Because as you package yourself and package your experiences, you have to be able to sell it. Because guess what? There's so many other people who are applying for the role. So you need to be able to stand out from the rest of the pack. But how you do that is you also, have some honest conversations with yourself around what is it that you bring to the table. And don't be shy about asking people for feedback. You heard Ashoka say it, feedback is a gift. Where is it that I'm strong? Because frankly, sometimes you think you're good at something, you may not be that good at it. But you may not realize that something that you think you're not good at, you are actually really good at. And so, but other people can pour into you and give you that validation around your skills. And so it's important to also have these conversations upwards, sideways, downwards, to get a rich sense of who you are and how you show up in the employment sector. And think about the next roles. Don't just stay stuck in just what I'm going to do tomorrow. Also, in 5 years, 10 years, what are the kinds of things that you think you're interested in? Eventually, it might be a winding road, but you'll get to your destination. But also think about careers not in a linear way. It's a bouncing castle, as some people describe it. You can do lateral moves, you can do different things, you can move out of a function, go into another function, get a demotion, so to speak. But all these things enrich the experiences that you have and the skills that you have and make you, quite frankly, a valuable employee. I mentioned, or I touched on, the timeline, right? So you have a role, you're in a position now, and you're considering where to go next. Think about how much time to spend in the next role. For a lot of people, they may think, oh, I can just do 1 year in this role and then move on. What are you going to accomplish in 1 year? How much are you actually going to have learned in 1 year, right? So think about, and as you go older or you gain more experience, some roles are more complex. So you can't do 2 to 3 years in those roles. You may need 7 to really get the full value of the experiences that you're trying to acquire. So for me, how I look at it is, there's role number 1, what you're doing now, and then you look at maybe role number 2, and in year 3, 4, or 5, and also then you look at what you could be doing in like 7 years. And write it down and talk to people, talk to your colleagues, talk to your peers about it, and ask yourselves and ask them, does this make sense? Does this feel right? Obviously, understand who and what your organization is and what roles are available. You may have to leave. Sometimes you can leave and come back, but you may actually have to leave in order to get to where you want to get to. And those peers and people that we're talking about, that's the village. You know the old adage that says it takes a village to raise a child. I used to say it takes a village to take care of Susan in her workspace. I had my peers. Whenever I was going through a difficult time, I would call them, I would cry, I would yell, I would do whatever it is that I need to do. But they were my village, right? They were protecting me, they would guide me, they would listen to me, and then they would say, okay, Susan, maybe this time you're being too dramatic. Calm down. But these people all play a role in your success. The teachers are also important. You should always have a mentor, at least 1 or 2. But know who and what they are to you. If they're your mentor, what are you getting out of that mentor relationship? It should be determined, predetermined. Don't just show up to someone and say, oh, I want you to be my mentor. What am I mentoring you on? What gaps do you have that you need shoring up? These are things that you need to be clear within yourself and reach out and build those relationships. They're your champions. The champions are important. These are your advocates. These are the people who go to bat for you when you're not in the room. These are the people who, when someone comes and said, oh, X and Y Z person said she didn't do a good job on this project, they can say, oh no, that is not the experience I had with Susan. This is the experience I had with Susan. Or they're the people who will say, there's a role that I'm thinking of creating. Who do I think wants to be in? Who do I think we should put in that role? And they come for you and say, please come, I have this role for you to do. These are your advocates. You should always have your champions, your mentors, and your peers in the workspace, regardless of what type of role you're in, regardless of the type of environment you're in. And as you build those relationships, it needs to be organic. It needs to be authentic. If it's felt like you're just here building this relationship with me to get something out of it, most people will have their guard up and they won't invest. On the flip side, who you choose as your champion or your mentor, if you don't feel that sense of investment, then you are in the wrong mentoring relationship. So think carefully about how you establish those relationships and make sure you pour into them and you develop them and you make time for them, just so as much as you expect them to make time and investment in you.
Are you a woman who is looking to lead effectively, influence, impact positively, manage change, and improve your decision-making processes? If yes, register now at www.strandsofpearls.org or WhatsApp +233 265 051 182 to attend the Aurora Women's Conference on June 8th and 9th, 2023 at the Alisa Hotel, Accra. And this is why.